You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Days of Our Lives fans. So we've got Rafe Hernandez dumped this week by Jada Hunter. That means he is single, ready to mingle, and looking around. But is there even anyone for Rafe to date in Salem? It's Melinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to dive into a few Rebound options, but please click subscribe if you're not following us. Let's face it, this thing with Jada is not the worst crash and burn that Rafe has had in the romance department. You know, the former police commissioner pretty much has had bad relationships back to back. Things with him and Hope were okay, but of course that fizzled out. And since then, you know, with Ava, with Jordan, Nicole, you know, we've seen one bad choice after another. But finally, then Rafe seemed to have found a partner in Jada that had the potential to, you know, really be a lasting romance. They have law enforcement in common. Rafe even finally adjusted to her being the police commissioner and him not getting his job back despite being injured in the line of duty and then ousted by Paulina, which of course added insult to injury. But Arnold Feniger's return ruined them. I do want to be fair. EJ did not bring that guy back into their lives. He didn't want Arnold in town, but EJ did take advantage of Arnold being in town since he refused to leave Salem anyway. And now, of course, EJ's waking up from his coma, and Rafe has got a really rough week ahead. While Arnold publicly humiliated Jada, of course, she thought it was really Rafe doing it, and he's mad about that. But nobody in Salem realized it was Arnold instead of Rafe until the very last moment. That included his cousin Javi, his sister Gabby. Nobody realized it. So it really wasn't fair for Rafe to be so upset with Jada for making the same mistake everybody made. And that led to her being in Sean's bed for a night. Then Rafe kicked her out. She slept on Sean's couch. And then Rafe assumed Jada was shagging Sean on a regular basis and lying. And so when Sami knocked on Rafe's door, he was happy to hop into bed with her to make himself feel better. But when he found out he had made the wrong assumption about Jada, he confessed to sleeping with Sami. And so now Rafe's getting dumped because Jada doesn't see where they go from here with everybody falling in bed with everybody else. Rafe didn't give her the benefit of the doubt and went and banged his ex. So I think Jada's just had about enough of the nonsense. And with her and Rafe splitting, I expect her to head over back to Sean's pretty soon. Maybe not this week, but soon. And that leaves Rafe single, probably wanting a woman in his life. But there's not a huge bunch of options right now in Salem, but there are a couple of ladies available and a couple of more that are coming back that may tempt him once he and Jada are done. First, of course, Sami Brady is back in June for John Black's funeral, but she never stays that long. So she's not a long-term prospect for any kind of romance with Rafe. At the most, if he's not seeing somebody else by the time she's back in June, I could see Rafe sliding back into the sheets with Sami while she's in town. But she's really not a rebound option for Rafe. Let's be real. Second, his ex, Carrie Brady, is coming back to town in June as well. However, last I recall, she was still happily with Austin Reed. They are happily hitched. They were making babies. So I doubt Carrie would be a rebound option for Rafe unless she came back and said, oh, by the way, I divorced Austin and I'm staying in Salem. So I think more of them is just having a happy reunion as exes and friends when Carrie is in town in a few weeks. So third, we have this woman is in town. She's single. She might be a possible rebound option for Rafe, and that's Melinda Trask. The former DA did have an occasionally contentious relationship with Rafe when he was police commissioner, but Melinda is, not in the DA role anymore. And she also hasn't really dated anybody since she was with now dead Lee Shen. At one point, Melinda had a crush on Kristen DiMera, but he's long gone. So Melinda is totally single, as Rafe will be soon. So I could kind of see them having the same sort of compatibility. You know, Melinda and Rafe could talk about Law and Order, crime in Salem, how much they hate EJ. And, you know, it's not like Melinda's best friends with Jada or anything. So fourth, this is another woman already in Salem that might be an option for Rafe to tangle with. She-villain Kristen DiMera. And even though Ava left town and is no longer an obstacle for Brady and Kristen to reunite, we've seen Brady make it very clear he's not getting back with Kristen. They are toxic together, so she's got to give up on that. And of course, Rafe is no fan of the DiMeras, especially given what went on with EJ recently. But Rafe also has an occasional taste for bad girls. Hurricane Sammy is chaos personified. Nicole Walker back in the day was all about schemes. He dated former lady mobster Ava Vitale and the very deeply troubled Jordan Ridgway. So Kristen may be a long shot, but she's still a relevant option. Fifth and finally, the last person in town right now who is single, lady-wise, is Kat Green. But she doesn't seem a viable option for Rafe for a couple of reasons. First of all, she has that big crush on Chad DiMera. This week, though, it looks like he's going to tell Kat that there's no chance he'll date her or anybody else. Spoiler, have this epiphany with Chad that he's just not ready to move on. He's still grieving and he still doesn't have closure on Abby. But in the 60th anniversary photo shoots, there were pictures taken of Kat with EJ and Chad. So that's a red flag. Kat may be involved with one or the other or both of the DiMera brothers, and adding Rafe into that mix seems like one guy too many. So although Kat's single, I don't see anything happening with her and Rafe. There is another return coming back soon who is single when she gets back to Salem, as far as we've heard. That's Gwen Rizczech. She left town after finding out that her hubby Dimitri was betting her bestie Leo, which of course is not great news. Potentially, you know, Rafe and Gwen could be a match. There's no reason that they cannot date. And, you know, of course, there's also no reason that they should or would date. I struggle to even remember any run-ins between Rafe and Gwen that would point to any chemistry or potential between them. Of all the ladies on this list, I have to say Melinda is at the top because I like her a lot. I'd like to see more of her character. However, a much more dramatic option for Rafe would be to get with Kristen. And remember this, Rafe is struggling to get the dirt he wants to prove that EJ and Arnold kidnapped him. So he might try and romance the truth out of Kristen. That seems plausible. Our leaker said that through this fall, Jada is still split with Rafe and she is seeing Sean. So we'll see how it goes. But then again, Kristen's probably headed for prison soon, so she may be off the table too. So maybe he needs to think about Melinda or Gwen.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.